Hello, my name is Chastity, and I chose to do my final presentation on counseling women. The importance of counseling women to multicultural counseling is that women face discrimination described as systematic, meaning that since the beginning of time, men and women have not been equal or treated equal, and that has kind of blended over into today's societies and expectations. There's a lot of underrepresentation for women in schooling, especially in the science and math areas, as well as the workplace. We see a lot less women in power and in powerful positions than we do men. Sexual and physical assault are a concern for women. In Sue et al.'s textbook, it says that 31.5% of U.S. women are subjected to intimate partner violence, 19.3% are raped, 43.9% suffer some other form of sexual violence, and 15.2% are the victims of violence outside the home. Societal expectations on image and body image may cause body dysmorphia or eating disorders in women, which will cause them to come to counseling to try to fix these issues that they're experiencing. This needs to be taken into account by counselors because it is a large number of women that experience these issues and of their self-image. Cultural tropes such as biological clock cannot be broadly applied to every client and differs based off cultural norms as well as how they were raised, their childhood, and what they seen or how old their parents were whenever they were born. Counselors must take all this into account as women are more likely to receive mental health than men. The essential elements of counseling women. A counselor must be aware of any biases that they may hold against women, and this can be found with a clinical checklist to recognize any both conscious and unconscious biases. In order to avoid a blaming attitude described by Sue et al., even if the bias is unconsciously believed, causing gender-based microaggressions, it needs to come out, and a counselor needs to understand that they do hold this bias and try to talk to their counselor to get rid of this bias. Previously stated, all women's biological clocks do not align, meaning they are taking on new roles such as having babies, getting married, and passing new roles such as becoming an empty nester at different times in life, especially in today's society where there's some people having children when they're in high school and some women having children in their late 40s. McConnell emphasizes the need to empower women throughout every stage of life, and she makes it a point that as a counselor, you should want to challenge all the stereotypes and anything that has been said about women that self-consciously bring them down. I do agree with Sue et al. In her outlook of counseling women. Attention to detail with statistics of incidences involving women as victims, such as the rape, the sexual violence, and the violence inside the home, are important to see due to their effect on women's thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's interesting and honestly horrible to see how high the numbers are for the amount of women that have experienced these types of crimes. Sue et al. Didn't, however, mention a lot on the different cultural standards regarding women. Kin et al. Mentioned that gender-related social threats or sexism and physical threats such as sexual violence, domestic violence, and human trafficking could vary across societies and therefore differently constrain women or make them feel like they can or can't do more or less things. Even across different states in the U.S., women are depended on for different roles and either stay in the house more or are working.